having technical issues with the camera and that. Well, with my phone. I didn't want to, for some reason, do landscape. But this is just going to be a hangout and chill. Once again, as I look at the deck and sleeve it up. Doesn't want to lock up pretty well, but hopefully you guys have. I got my coffee here. You guys are going to have to excuse me again like last night's stream. Still dealing with this stupid respiratory infection. But with that, today on the chopping block for sleeving and that, we have ourselves Tiana, Ship's Caretaker. I still need to look through the deck, so we'll be doing that together. You guys are going to have to excuse the laundry and the heater on in the background. Once again, in my basement. But let's take a look here. Tiana is 3 and a Rakdos. Boros, red-white for 3/3, Angel Artificer, flying first strike. Whenever an aura or equipment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. That's really not kind of the ability that I wanted to use, but it ends up being this is going to be a Boros equipment, Angel equipment deck. So let's stick the commander up in here and take a look at some of the cards I've got in here. I know I needed to look at the land base once again, and I thought I saw a couple duplicates of things. So creatures, equipment, creature, equipment, creature. I like this. I've been saving the Stoneforge Mystic put in here from the Secret Lair, the Rebecca Guy Secret Lair for quite some time. See, like I already saw a couple Sunforgers. Yeah, like I said, you're gonna have to excuse the coughing. Lands. We're gonna have to look at the land base once again. But yeah, glad to be able to stream a little bit, considering sickness, illness, etc., etc. Yeah, there's several duplicates. Creature. Steel Shipper's Gift, Rumor Gatherer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some major edits before this gets sleeved up, but you know what? That's okay. That's why you guys are on the stream. I do need the other Nahiris, but I just decided not to wait. I'm gonna go ahead and sleeve this up without the other Nahiris, even though it was a part of my my plan. Yes, that's a Sunglasses Versa. Since this is a Boros deck, it's nice to have the ability to basically create mana of whatever type I need. And as I like to do, I like to include one OG revised or earlier cards in my decks when I can. So I've got Nahiri in here. Mainly for the equip reduction, because some of the equip costs are in here are gnarly. But let's take a look at my instants and sorceries real quick, because there's not a few of them. We got Open the Armory, Divine Reckoning, so let's put it into removal. I know that there was a couple duplicates of like Boros Charm. There's some card draw, removal, and a Fumigate. There's card draw, Steel Shaper's Gift. There was 2 Boros Charms. both from Commander Master, so we'll leave one of those in there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 removal, not too bad. Yeah. And I'll take out the Forging the Tyrite sword. That's coming out. So what decks are you guys working on? I've edited my little list setup over here. Since yesterday we sleeved up Kalia, and today we're sleeving up Tiana. I moved all my decks up in my list, and let's see. So I'm going to sort these creatures by whether they're your utility or whether they have to do with equipment. So like Priest of the Ancient Lore is card draw. Can always use help with card draw and white. SRAMs, enchantments and equipment. Same thing with Ardenn. Sun Titans, just value. Core Duelist, it wants to be equipped. Rav, Brunor, equipment. Knoll. Heavenly Blade Master is one of the reasons I ended up buying that Game Night 2023 set. Flying Double Strike, 3/6 for 6. And when it enters battlefield, you may attach any number of auras or equipment onto it, and other creatures you control get +1/+1 for each aura or equipment on it. That's huge, as well as the Zamriel, Seraph of Steel. Flying, as long as it's your turn, equipped creatures you control have indestructible. That is awesome. 4 mana, 3/4 Angel is what we used to get for vanilla way back when. Astor, equipment you control as equip 1. Starmheim Courser to reduce the cost of artifacts. We've got our Danitha, reduce the equip costs. Pure Steel Paladin to draw cards. Jorkadine is kind of fun. Creatures you control get +3/+0 as long as you have 3 or more artifacts. That's not going to be a problem. Indomitable Archangel, Metalcraft. My artifacts will have Shroud, which is awesome. That way my equipment's not getting removed. Rumor Gatherer is another way of getting card draw. Kite Sail Apprentice may or may not get on the chopping block. Stoic Farmer is ramp. Same thing with Core Cartographer. And Knight of the White Orchid. Oh, you guys are going to just have to excuse me. Ingenious Smith. Card selection. And then potential counters. There's the Foil Wylith. I need to take out the other one. Where's the other one? Oh no, that's Rav. Thought I already had a... Okay. Wylith. Akiri. Card draw. I already have the other Stoneforge Mystic, although I really like the art on this one. But since I already got one in there. Humble Defector. Mainly as a way to draw cards. He's probably going to get chopped. Let's put him aside with the core... where did they go? The Kite Sail Apprentice. Depending on what I have in my binder. Stoneforge is definitely saying... Oh, there's the other Wylith. I know I had more than one. Relic Seeker. Search for equipment. Torben. I can actually take Torben out. That's actually going to go in. Ingenious Smith, that's a duplicate. Tragic Poet is... I don't need that. Oromancer. Target enchantment? Nope. And Nahiri. This is the new Nahiri. Affinity for equipment. I can cast the extra equipment cards, but I do need some more of the Nahiris. in this deck. You know, I can probably actually cut these two and look through my binder and see where we're at. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 20, 26 creatures. Not too bad since we're going creatures and equipment. You need a good mixture of both. So let's put that aside. Let's take a look at the mana rocks. We've got ourselves a Sunglass's Verza, Arcane Signets, Boros Signets, Commander Sphere, Talisman of Conviction, Boros Locket, Boros Key Rune. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not too bad. I'm actually probably fine with that. And now looking through some of the equipment. Horn of Valhalla is a new one. It gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. That's fine. That should work. A Hammer of Nazan. Quietest Spike is always fun. The Death Touch and the Half the Life. Sculpting Steel is to make a copy of any of the other equipment that I want to. Lockstone Warhammer. I know I have a couple in here. Sword of Vengeance from the Game Night 2023 set. Blackblade Reforged. Swiftfoot Boots for protection. Masterwork of Ingenuity. Another copy, another version of Sculpting Steel. Thran Power Suit. Just a bigger buff. Explorer Scope. Ramp. I was going to try it out and see. I haven't played with it in such a long time. Since this is an equipment deck, you just had to throw the giant hammer in there. Well, howdy to whoever's watching. Make sure you say hi in the comment. Gotta have the big hammer. Maul the Skyclaves, once again, I'm going to play with this and see how it actually works. Flying in First Strike is nice. And the first equip is free. That's a big bonus. Mace the Valiant. We'll see. You get each of the charge counters for each creature that comes into play. I'm not in like a token heavy deck, so we'll see. Obviously, a Sunforger is necessary, and for some reason I had an extra copies of both Sunforger and that, and the Swiftfoot Boots. Fire Shrieker, give double strike. A Bone Splitter for cheap equipment. Hero's Blade, same thing. Oh, we got that's extra. Ring of Thune, give Vigilance. And I already had a Black Blade. Haunted Cloak, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. We already had a Sword of Vengeance. Mask of Avacyn for the Hexproof. We already had an Explorer Scope. Blazing Sunsteel. Gets +1/+0 for each opponent you have. Whenever it deals that much damage, it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. I was going to try it out. Embercleave is obviously awesome. And this is my legit Embercleave. And Butcher's Cleaver. Hi, Josh Langley. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, you're going to have to excuse me. I've got this respiratory infection. I'm coughing up all over the place. But let's count and see what we got here. I am currently editing Tiana, Ship's Caretaker, to get put together and sleeved up tonight, since I'm down here doing laundry anyway. And so I noticed that I needed to make some edits, and there were some duplicate cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 20. 24 equipment. That might get edited down before I sleeve it up. I tried to have this set up on landscape mode so you could see more of my play space, but YouTube Live and my phone just didn't want to gel when it came to putting it in the landscape mode. So I'll move the camera around here and there as we need. But taking a look at the mana base before I I'm going to try and reduce the number of tapped lands that are in here, but it's kind of hard when you're in Boros. Tapped, tapped, untapped, untapped. Keep that, keep that. I like the cycling lands. So Josh, what are you up to tonight? Terramorphic Buried Druid, Path of Ancestry, Command Tower. Let me grab my binder and we'll see what other lands we can stick in here. It may not change that much. Hopefully you're like me and you have your favorite drink. I got my coffee over here. Building decks. What you working on, Josh? I'm just off camera here. I'm looking through my artifact and land binder, making sure I didn't miss anything. And don't mind my washer in the background making all kinds of noise. Yeah, I don't know about you, Josh, and those watching later. Deck building is very cathartic. I always find it very relaxing and enjoyable. And no wonder I've got more than 70 decks already built and another, what is that, 5, 10, 15, 20 on the deck. Baron Sengir Mono Black Vampires. Nice. That is definitely OG. That is definitely OG. No, I didn't see any other. Yeah. I already have a Rogue's Passage in here. No, I didn't. Let me go and stick another Rogue's Passage in here. Would not hurt one deck. The Brian Canada special there. And we'll see what I have for Boros lands. That's basically it for Boros lands. Not a wide selection. Yeah, in fact, Josh, I was just working on my Edgar Markov deck. I got to play it, what would that have been? Christmas. And made a few edits to it before it got played. Well, let's get a land count here and see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16. Non-basics, not too bad. Ooh, only 35 lands. I need like 4 more lands. Yeah. Yeah, I understand the whole eminence. And normally I don't jump on the bandwagon with whatever the biggest, greatest deck is. If somebody really doesn't like Edgar, I have other commanders that I'm more than willing to switch out for it. Eminence was a fun idea for them, but I think since they made that first round just so doggone powerful, I think that they probably will not return to something like Eminence anytime in the near future. All right, let's see if I have some more. So I don't need to do say at 35, I need to get 40. So I'm going to go ahead and add 3 more planes, and let me see if I can find 2 more of those same mountains. Yes, I'm one of those kind of anal retentive people that likes my lands to match whenever possible. Notice I said whenever possible. That's just me. So what's the game plan in Baron Sengir Vampires there? It's not the same art. Yeah, that Sardar Jabari's, that's that new Knight Commander, wasn't it? The one that had blue in it. The, what was that? Was that Bant? Was that Bant Knights, if I remember right? Yeah, okay. Just making sure my memory's still working okay over here. And you know what? I don't have 3 more of those arts. Any more of that particular art from Melt. So I am going to need to see. I'll just have to put in 2 more of those planes. I don't think that it's going to mess up my mana base that significantly. Should go a couple more of those planes. But yeah, no. So Josh, besides you, I've only really ever had MTG Ghoul Dude in my live videos. So I don't know if you're aware of his channel, but he's one of the kind of the friends of this channel. So we are now up to 40 lands, which is where I start with in my decks nowadays. It used to be I would go down as far as 35, 36, 37, but not anymore. All right, let's take a quick gander at what we've got and see any holes we need to. 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20, 31. Ooh, I am 12 cards over. Baron Singer is just running old school vampires, which are optimized. Just something old school. Oh, not familiar with MTG Ghoul Dude. I was just talking with him last night. He does a lot of zombie themed things, but also has a series called Digging Up the Past, where he goes through all of a particular creature type throughout Magic's history. But yeah, so like I said, I am 12 cards over. So I'm going to be going to do some cuts here. Probably in the realm of a couple of the creatures and a couple of the equipment. Yeah, I wanted to leave my... So is there a particular tribe that you like best there, Josh? Is it vampires is your thing, or? Yeah, this is going to be a Voltron deck. It's mainly just to suit up either Tiana or one of the other decent equipment holders that's in the deck. The other creatures are in there mainly for searching, for ramp, for card draw, that kind of thing. What's funny is I don't normally do Voltron-y type decks. It's either go wide or... Oh, this is your first tribal deck. Oh, nice. Probably a bit different than building your other decks. So let's take a look at these equipment and see if we can't. I need to get 12 cards down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 24. And that would bring it down to 12. That's actually 12 would be a decent amount. Let's take a look. Sunforger staying. Loxodon staying. Butcher is a maybe. Embercleave is staying. Sunsteel is a maybe. Mark staying. Cloak staying. Ring of Thunes maybe. Maybe. Fire Shrieker maybe. We'll keep those in even though I'm testing them. Hammer stays in. Stays maybe. Stays, and maybe. What are the maybes already pulled out? 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, wow. Not too bad. Let's take a look at the ones I've kept in. 1, 2, 7. I am actually out of Sword of the Animus at the moment. That would actually be a great include, but I don't have one at the moment. Yep. So there's 8 that I'm taking out, and probably going to end up taking out Ingenious Smith, Rumor Gatherer, Starnheim Courser. Need to take out one more. Man. Oh, that's not my washer. That's the pump from the... Since I'm in the basement, it's got to pump out the stuff. Ardennes kind of a maybe. Well, howdy there, whoever else is watching. Welcome to my sit, chill, and stream. Josh is making up a Vampires deck, and I've got here my coffee, and editing, and eventually going to sleeve up here in a minute this Tiana Ship's Caretaker deck. Had to make a couple of cuts here. Nah, I'll just cut one land and go to 39. For those of you watching, make sure you just take a moment and drop it in the chat and say hi. With that, I think the deck is now complete. Minus, obviously, as I mentioned before, I'm missing a couple of Nahiris, like the white Nahiri. That's actually in another deck. I have a Knight Tribal with equipment that has my other Nahiris besides this one. So I would have to get other copies of Nahiri to go in there. So these are the cards I ended up cutting. I went down to 39 lands, so I took out a Plains, took out Rumor Gatherer, Starnheim Courser, Ingenious Smith, Horn of Valhalla, Thran Power Suit, Fire Shrieker, Bone Splitter, Hero's Blade, Ring of Thune, Blazing Sunsteel, and Butcher's Cleaver. I'm going to leave some of these on the side in the deck to be able to change out as I move and go along, which I do with all my decks. In my cleared, or in my deck boxes, let me grab one here. That's actually for this one. So what I do is I'll sleeve them up. Oh, it's MTG Ghoul Dude. Hey, I was just talking about you. Hopefully your ears were burning because I was talking about you. So here's the Stanley toolbox containers that I use. And so what I do is after the deck is sleeved, I put them on their side up, and that leaves probably a good inch or so on the top for the commander as well as tokens. And yes, I have Jorkadine in here. Yeah, I do have Jorkadine in here. Where is he? I just saw him not more. There he is. Yep, I got Jorkadine in there. Seemed perfect, and you know, it's probably the only time you're going to see Jorkadine. I mean, he could be the commander if I really wanted to, but it's StewieMTG. You got to go with angels. But with that, let me grab my sleeves. Got here my Dragon Shield Perfect Fit Clear and Matte Black, and let's go ahead and sleeve it up and chit chat. But MTG Ghoul Dude. Speaking of which, did you get to Platinum today, dude? Put this up here for the cards that have already been sleeved. Scoot a little closer to the desk so my back's not killing me. Oh, bump the camera. There we go. So I was mentioning last night, this is the way I do it. If I can find the little tab. There it is. So I'll have a container in front of me, and then I'll take out the inner sleeves and place them so that the, oh, it's the other side. So that the open end is towards my right hand. Then I'll grab the cards that I need to sleeve. I put it in where the top of the card is at the top of the inner sleeve. And then I'll just put it in the box in front of me. Hey Josh, quick question for you while you're building that deck. Any pet cards you have in there? I know we all have pet cards. Like for instance, Brian Candid over at Cure for the Condom game. I would say his pet card is probably the land that makes something unblockable. Oh, I just put it in this deck. Can't believe I just forgot the name of that card. Not Mysterious Bookcase, that's the artifact version. And yes, oh, you use side loaders? Okay. Yes, MTG Ghoul Dude, you are seeing an OG card in the deck. As I was saying earlier, I like to include at least one OG card in a deck when I'm making it. Power level be damned. And it looks harder than it is. It actually is harder than it looks trying to do this in and through your phone, looking in the screen view to watch you sleeving up. Yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about with using side loaders is, does it actually still repel? Like, there's been only one time that a drink has spilled on any of my decks, and thankfully it wasn't me, but it was someone else. I was actually borrowing one of my decks and knocked over an energy drink on top of it. And none of the cards were damaged because the opening was at the bottom of the sleeve, and I wasn't using side loaders. And yes, this is a proxy. I get my proxies from mpcproxy.com. Massacre or Massacre Girl? That's the big question about your favorite pet card. But I liked the artwork on this particular, and the frame on this particular one. And I've got other Steel Shapers gifts aplenty. Since I play Kitchen Table Magic, and the people that I play with, you know, right now, one of the guys I play with, his deck right now is like old school, like 80% old school proxies before he actually makes the deck. So he printed the cards out on regular paper, cut it out, and it's in front of a regular card. So, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's fine in my play group. Especially, I try and only proxy things that I actually own, unless I'm trying a card out. And then I will just let people know, hey, I'm trying out a card, I'm proxying it for right now, and go from there. Oh, regular Massacre. Okay. I was just checking because a lot of people will shorten cards. Yeah, I kind of figured your favorite creature would be Gravecrawler. Oh, and MTG Ghoul. I had to include my Rebecca Guy Secret Lair Stoneforge Mystic in this deck. Now, I did have my proxy. Where is she? Like, for instance, this is my proxy Stoneforge. It's beautiful. So it's like, oh. Yeah. Yep. So like I said, I do own a regular Stoneforge, but if I'm, you know, as I said before, I've got 70 decks right now. We're actually going to be 72, and I'll probably top out at 100. I just don't feel like I need to own 3 Stoneforge Mystics in order to do that. And I know, MTG Ghoul Dude, you have a few proxies in your decks as well. I know it's kind of a controversial subject, but StewieMTG doesn't stray away from controversy. And this is just a beautiful foiling and beautiful card. This was part of the reason when I opened up, yeah, for your revised duels, yeah. When I opened up the Game Night 2023, I saw this in the white deck, and that's what prompted me. I thought, oh yes, there's the Tiana would be a great commander to go with this, because I didn't want to do mono white in equipment. Yeah, I mean, in years past, I have owned revised duels, but that was a long time ago. Back when revised duels were only $20. So what you working on right now, MTG Ghoul Dude? That's just awesome artwork right there too. The new Nahiri. I think in about a week I'll be able to play this deck and be able to see how it actually works and make some edits that way. Oh, you're still working on Galta? Nice. Yeah, that Galta deck was ridiculous. And yes, for those watching later, once the deck's fully sleeved, I'll go through each of the cards and talk about them. Oh, you haven't had a problem with side loaders and spillage there, Josh? The problem for me is mainly I've got about 3 card stores around me, and they almost exclusively carry top loaders, or you want to call them bottom loaders or whatever. Very rarely I'll see side loaders, and to be honest, I've never really used them. As I mentioned last night, I've made the switch to go to from KMC to strictly to Dragon Shield, and so I haven't really looked back since then. Although MTG Ghoul dude, you're gonna have to let me know how that new company's sleeves are like. Yeah, sorry, my phone keeps focusing in and out. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. That should focus. Rogue's Passage. That's the name of the card I was thinking of earlier. I would say that this is Brian Canada for the Common Games pet card. My pet card? Ooh. What would my pet card be? It really kind of depends. I mean, I have so many different decks. But if it's my angels, there has to be a Sarah Angel in there. Or if it's dragons, I have to have a Shivan Dragon in there. And this is another proxy. I have a Rugged Prairie in another deck, and just, yeah, I'm not going to go either search it out or switch it out or whatever. I'm just not. Oh, Under the Lands. Let's push some of the air out of this while I'm sitting here doing this. Now, as you guys can see, the only thing I don't like about the sets of Dragon Shield inners that I've gotten recently is some of them go in just fine, not a lot of pressure, and then some of them it ends up Pringle chipping just a little bit. I was talking about that last night in the stream. Yeah, and what's nice about Dragon Shield is it's available pretty much everywhere. Walmart, Meijer, Target, your big box stores has it. Your local card shops have it. You can order it online pretty easy. And I like the fact that Dragon Shield, if you order online, you can select your local card store and they get a cut of the sale. And so I will alternate between some of my local stores, or I'll support Canada's Collectible Games down there in Tennessee. I'll select them when it comes up. Yay, we're on to our lands. Well, I'm glad you guys are with me tonight. Last night nobody came on, and so it always makes it a lot more interesting and interactive when there's other people watching and commenting. It's almost looking like I'm running out of sleeves, but you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15. Okay, we're good. It was just looking like I was running out of running out of sleeves. But I counted right. Yeah, don't mind the noise in the background. You're hearing my laundry going. Alright, almost done with round one of the sleeving, and on to the outers. How long have I been playing Magic? I've been playing Magic since late 93, early 94. So I think it was right about my birthday in 93. So that would have been my 11th birthday. And the local comic store that my friends and I frequented said, hey, you got to try out this new card game called Magic. And my friend got hooked in it right away. I was a little more hesitant. So they taught me how to play. Bought my first starter deck, and this would have been, let's see, this would have been probably my first starter deck. I know for sure was beta. The store where I was at didn't get much alpha. This would have been in Southern California, a town called Yorba Linda / Anaheim Hills, and the card shop was what's it called? Amazing Comic and Cards. Man, it's been so long and they've been out of business so long. It's hard to remember what the name of the store was. Anyways, so learned how to play, got into it immediately, started buying up as much as I could. I worked with my dad a lot as a kid, so I had a little bit of expendable income. And so quickly got into Magic, and back then I wasn't into the competitive scene. It was just kind of kitchen table or go down to the card store and go play. Collectors only comics and cards, that's what it was called. They ended up closing a couple of years later and ended up bought out and turned into what was called Chaos Games at the time. And they moved across the street into a different, cheaper location, and it was predominantly Magic. Then the Pokemon craze kind of came through, and they mainly only carried Pokemon to make money off of the whole craze, which is totally understandable. So yeah, it started late 93, early 94, and then even very early on, there were guys, because it was more kitchen table Magic, willing to explore and to do things. And so there were guys building, 250 card decks and crazy things like that. And I remember one time a guy came in, and it was a Singleton deck. It wasn't Commander, but it was Singleton. And he had built a Kobold deck. With Kobolds from Legends. We're talking, this has to be around Ice Age. So was that 95? And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Only one of each card except for basic lands. How does this thing work? And so I was really interested and started building it that way. And then a number of years later, I did competitive Magic for a while during Urza Block, states, regionals, that kind of thing. And then, life gets in the way, got serious with work, and that would have been 99, 2000. got busy with work, got engaged, got married. So it's been kind of on and off ever since I got married. Always been kitchen table. My daughter now plays, my oldest daughter, who's 12. So it's kind of a family affair. My wife tried, just doesn't really like it. So, but this new Lorcana, I think, has caught her eye. So I'm going to break down and buy the Lorcana Starter Decks and see what it's like. But all throughout that time, between, let's say, 93 and 2000, I was willing to try any card game that came down the pike. I played the original Star Wars card game for a while, the one by Decipher. I got heavy into Legend of the Five Rings. I really enjoyed that since I've been in martial arts for 30 years. So the same year I started Magic is the same year I started martial arts. So I liked the Japanese flavor of Legend of the Five Rings. And then they came out... Okay, I started about the same time you did. Yeah, us old guys. I thought, when I first started, I was 11. There's guys that are my age now, then playing Magic. And I thought, oh man, what's up with all these old guys playing cards? Isn't that kind of weird? Oh, Jihad, yeah, and Rage. Oh man, I have not talked to somebody who has played Rage in at least 20 years. Oh, it might even be longer than that. I remember Rage, and I think you can still get boxes of Rage for like almost nothing. Jihad was kind of a niche game at the Chaos Games where I played a lot. The owners liked to play it, and they had they're the ones give me a deck to try it out and to play. And I don't even have my Jihad cards anymore. I sold those off many years ago. Oh, you're rebuilding your... Yeah, I've done that several times. There's been some times when emergencies have come up and I've sold large parts of my collection. I will usually, when that happens, just go down to my angel decks and then sell off the rest. And I've done that probably 3 or 4 times. The biggest hit ever was 95. So there's a 5,000 count box right in front of me. And I had about a 5,000 count box full of alpha, beta, unlimited, revised. And my parents and I were moving. And our tweaker neighbors decided to break into the van, and they stole my bag with my sparring gear and all my belts and that for karate. And then they stole my Bible, which I ended up getting that back. And then they sold my Magic cards and immediately hawked them, and I couldn't find them. So, shoot, I could have probably retired with what I had. No Power 9. Well, I had a Mox Emerald. But, heck, alpha common cards are going for ridiculous amounts nowadays. But, yeah, that's the only time that it really hurt. Yeah, thinking back on it, it's rough. Back then, it was rough, but, I rebuilt my collection, but it's just not the same when you're going from, having, it's 95, your whole bulk box is Arabian Nights and Legends and Antiquities and Alpha and Beta and Unlimited, to going to, well, my main part of my collection is Antiquities, or not Antiquities, Chronicles, and 4th edition, and yeah, it's vastly different. So that's basically my story in a nutshell, in a long-winded way. There's been some times when life gets busy, I'll take a block or two, or what was called a block or two off, and then just buy what cards I liked from those to add to my collection. But now, especially with as much as Magic is printing stuff, I just find it hard. I don't have a whole lot of disposable income. A lot of it comes from me going through my collection, selling off what extra I have, gifts, presents, that kind of thing, Christmas, birthdays. So, yeah, Like, I didn't get any Doctor Who. I only got a couple things from Lord of the Rings. I only got the starter decks from the last couple sets. It just previously, many years ago, when I was in Southern California, there was back before Wizards had a MSRP. Actually had an MSRP. We would go to this place called Frankensons, and it was like a place where people would sell Hot Wheels and Beanie Babies and that kind of thing. Yeah, I can understand that. I mainly buy singles or trade for singles. I do buy. I can be a pack junkie. It's fun, but man, that's an awfully expensive gamble nowadays. But going back in, between 95 and 2000, there's a place called Frankensons in Southern California, and those end up watching that know the area would know what I'm talking about. And back then, there were wholesalers where you could go, especially during Urza Block when I had expendable income. You could buy a, let's say, any of the Urza Block booster boxes for $55 out the door. And you heard me right. It was the Frankensons only was there like every other weekend, something like that, and these wholesalers would be there. And so I would take my paycheck and I would go buy 4 boxes of Urza's Legacy Destiny or whatever, because they're $55 a box. That was a lot more affordable than now when you're looking at $115 a box or so, whatever the going price is for a box of Magic. And it's like, yes, I understand inflation, etc., makes the price go up, but there is no real place. I know some places, what is that, Card Shop Live? Sometimes you can get boxes for cheaper than quote unquote like MSRP or the going rate. I used to remember a lot of places like that. Yeah, I'd love some Saga Block boosters for $50. Yeah, especially with Gaia's the land, the green land. Guy's Cradle. Be able to have a chance to crack a cradle. I had a cradle at one point. Cracked it from a pack, in fact. And a friend of mine and I had actually assembled a foil Urza's set and sold it to the card shop for, I want to say it was like $350. And we thought, oh man, that was like the best thing ever. And then now, you look at the price of a foil cradle and but c'est la vie. History is history. Yeah, but I mean, those opportunities at the wholesalers and that, where you could go and get access to. The only other person that I know that does this is, like him or not, Rudy, the MTG finance kind of guy. If you're one of his Patreons, I think the last I saw, he was selling boxes for like $85. And I have done that in the past. Most of my Call Time boxes and that came from Rudy. I think the Patreon's $15. And there's only a selection of boxes that you can get access to, but still, it's predominant. It's imprint, standard boxes, and I don't even know if he does that anymore. So I could be totally wrong, but that was a way for one. a volume of cards, and what I would do is kind of play the booster box game that the professor does, and sell off rares, cards, and foils that I didn't need in order to, get more. So let's see, I'm about 75% of the way sleeving this deck. Glad you guys could join me and be with me, and for those that watch later, thanks for staying with a sick old guy, getting over this respiratory infection and just sleeving up some Magic. We'll see how this deck does in a week or so. One of the local Magic players, in fact, was texting me tonight, and, hey Chris, when can you get some games in? Well, you know what? In fact, I'm sleeving up a deck right now. So Josh, how's that deck coming? Where are you at in the building process? Like I said, to those who are watching later, stay tuned. As soon as this deck is sleeved up, I'll go through each of the cards one by one and kind of talk about why I've included some of the cards and the kind of the point of the deck, kind of a mini deck tech. Yeah, what's funny is I probably opened up 4 boxes of Kaldheim and only ended up getting like 2 or 3 Search for Glories. I mean, it's what I would call a fair tutor. 3-4 mana for a tutor is definitely fair. Especially if it's non-black. Oh, speaking of which, hey, MTG Gold Dude, are you still there? Cigar delayed. So Josh says, almost done, still waiting on a few cards coming in the mail. Yeah, I know how that is. I have grandmother saying here who's oddly not a vampire, and then Irene. Oh, yeah. Well, for me, usually, if it fits the theme, although, have you looked to see if Grandmother Singir has been errated to be a vampire? Because I know they went through a number of years ago and errated a lot of the cards to give them creature type. And I was talking about this last night. Karmic Guide. For many, many years, the card was just printed as a spirit. Oh, Grandmother Singir is a human wizard. Interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that. But like Karmic Guide, for the longest time was just a spirit. But I know a number of years ago they went back and made it an angel spirit, which is a bonus for me when StewieMTG makes his angel decks. Although after these two, I'm probably done making strictly angel decks. Because let's see, I've got my 5-color. I've got my Bant +1/+1 counter angels. I've got, just did last night, the Kalia, now Tiana, and I've got my mono white Giada. I think, yeah, I'm pretty good. If you guys are watching, thanks for jumping on. Make sure you guys say hi in the chat room, in the comments. Do I have a favorite color or color combination? Yes. Ever since I started Magic, it's always been white. White has always been my favorite. Obviously, white has sometimes been powerful and sometimes not been powerful, but I've stuck with it throughout the ages. I like all combinations of Magic, but I would say if I had to pick a clear, favorite, it would be white. I think part of that also has to do with the fact, quote unquote, in my day job, I'm a pastor. So my day-to-day dealings is with, quote unquote, the light and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, good. There's extra sleeves. That's another thing. Side note, not to get off the topic, but I like the fact that Dragon Shield includes a couple extra of the sleeves, just in case a sleeve rips. And I'll show you what I do with my extra sleeves here in a minute before we get to the deck tech. But yes, since I'm a pastor and I deal with light and dark, so in fact I've got a cleric deck, black-white clerics deck that I kind of identify with. But yep, it'd be white. And back in the day, 93, 94, definitely had the Knights and Angels, White Knight, and Sarah Angel, but I do enjoy, especially if you look through my all of my decks on Architect. There are some 3-color combinations that seem to be popular for me. Bant is another one of my my favorites, as well as Naya. So usually the ones that I build the most of have white in it. What about you, Josh? What's your favorite color or color combination, whether it's guild or a shard or whatever you want to call them? Get it clean up here a little bit. Put those cards away, and then I gotta do laundry. I got to do my laundry. Okay, I'm back. So for those of you watching, Josh actually asked a great question. What is your favorite color or color combination? Make sure to comment down below. And so just take a break from the deck for a second. So I got a few extra sleeves here from building the deck. And I take one of the old, what were these? Collection starters, or I don't remember what the heck they called these. And what I do is I keep my extra sleeves in here. Oh, Orzhov, Golgari, and Bant. So here's some inner sleeves extra, and here's last several sets have been the same color. So what I do is I take these extra sleeves and stick them in with the others, and if I get a ripped or I need to replace them, I'll use it for that. Or I like to put my commanders in a different sleeve. For instance, this one I've got it's actually a Flesh and Blood Dragon Shield sleeve. But I keep the extra sleeves in this container, as well as some of my oversized cards. And so let's say I'm looking through and I'm sleeving up a commander and I need a angel. I'll just grab some extra angels here. Or actually the backside's got some of the others. Or this was from my daughter's My Little Pony deck. Or here's some pink sleeves, or Zomboy sleeve. You know what? Hey, Chris, if you're still on there, this is heading your way. Actually, I cut on that one from Chris. There's some white sleeves. Got some of my old KMC stuff, because some of those decks still are around. Some blues and greens from KMC. whites, blues, and then over here are the outer sleeves, like for commanders to go over the sleeve. And then what large card do I have? Oh, get rid. Actually, need to just get rid of that. I sold off. I had a big stack of these giant commander cards, and I just sold them off for, I was getting like 50 cents a piece or something like that. Anyway, so that's what I do with these boxes. I keep all the extra sleeves in it for when I'm making decks. Yeah, Orzhov. I like Orzhov for certain things, especially Cleric Tribal is perfect. Golgari. I want to make a dredge deck. And actually now, oddly enough, life gain, Golgari life gain, just like that just doesn't make sense, but you know. That's just old guy thinking a little bit. And Bant, yeah. So here's the deck tech for the end of the video for tonight. Tiana Ship's Caretaker. We're not really going to be using her second ability. It's the whenever Aura equipment goes in the graveyard, you can return it to your hand at the end step. You know, if it happens, it happens. I'm not using it or breaking it or abusing it in any way. But with that, let's take a look at the cards. I'm going to exclude basic lands in this review, obviously. For those of you in the chat room, make sure you pop in if there's any cards you really like, or even any suggestions for the deck. Like I said, I still need to get like 3 different Nahiris for the deck, so some of these cards are filler until I get those Nahiris in here. For instance, there's the other Nahiri. So for the ramp, I've got, if it'll go in there, and the cards are sliding all over the place because they're freshly sleeved. That is the only thing about freshly sleeved decks, is just they go all over the stinking place. Stay. We got Boros Keyrune. Talisman of Conviction. By the way, I really appreciate that they've been reprinting the talismans. For the longest time, I just couldn't stick them in every deck because price prohibitive. Commander Sphere, Boros Signet, Arcane Signet, and OG include, as I already said earlier, Sunglasses of Urza. For removal, I've got a Fumigate, a Rip Apart, a Sanctify, Revoke Existence, Generous Gift, Boros Charm, Disenchant. Speaking of Urzas, we were talking about that earlier. Path to Exile, Divine Reckoning, Sigarda's Aid for some, excuse me, equipment-centric item to make sure I can attach it to something. Steel Shaper's Gift to go search for one. Same thing with Search for Glory. Union of the Third Path is a filler. 3 mana, draw a card, gain life's kind of superficial, but mainly it was a way of drawing card in white. We've got ourselves Open the Armory as another tutor. Knight of the White Orchid for ramp. Same thing with Core Cartographer and Stoic Farmer. Sun Titan for some graveyard return, plus it doesn't hurt to stick an equipment on Sun Titan. Priest of Ancient Lore card draw. Relic Seeker tutor. Stoneforge Mystic is obviously a big part of any equipment deck. Number 1, you get to search for an equipment, and then you can also cheat out cost using her second ability, and just the fact that it's Rebecca Guy. Rebecca Guy is my favorite Magic artist, and I actually got to talk to her, this would have been in the late 90s, online for quite some time. And Indomitable Archangel for the Metalcraft to give the equipment Shroud. Next little stack here, going through the creatures. Jorkanine. It's a flavor include, and as we mentioned earlier, When else are you going to be able to include Jorkadine in a deck? Unless it's equipment or artifact in Boros. Pure Steel Paladin to reduce those equip costs. Danitha, I mean, keyword soup plus the reduction in costs. Gotta include her. Plus, I like the stained glass in the background. That's awesome. Astor is for the equip one. This could be a spot that I switch out for a Nahiri. I don't quite know. Zamriel from the Game Night 2023 set. Equipped creatures have Indestructible, which is awesome. Heavenly Blade Master. Attach any number of aura or equipment onto it. Makes it certainly a definite. Josh was mentioning earlier here in the stream that this is definitely a battle cruiser slash equip it and go type of deck. Cole the Forge Master. There's not many creature tokens. This is probably just another filler for like a Nahiri card. Brunner Battlehammer, 0 for equip costs each turn, or 1 each turn. Rayav gives double strike. Cordulis gets double strike. Ardennes is mainly attaching for free, skipping those costs. Shram for card drop. Nahiri for the pseudo card draw selection. You may cast equipment spells this way without paying their mana costs. So there's 14 equipment. Akiri, card draw. Wyleth is card draw. Hammer of Nazan is some of our first equipment. So cheating the equip costs. Quietus Spike, Death Touch, and that Half-Life is quite awesome. I haven't seen Quietus Spike played in quite some time, but I'm excited to slap this on a flyer and swing in for some damage. Sculpting Skill is to copy any of either my artifacts or my opponent's artifacts. Got here Sword of Vengeance for some keyword soup, and I'm gonna actually need to switch this out because they're not all gonna fit. Yeah, air commander players worst enemy. All right, let's continue on. Some more equipment with Blackblade Reforged, Swiftfoot Boots, Masterwork of Ingenuity to copy, Explorer Scope I'm playing with as a way to ramp. Excuse me. Still got that upper respiratory infection. Colossus Hammer, gotta have the big stick in there if you're gonna equipment. Well, the Skyclaves I'm playing with, this could easily come out and be replaced by something else in the future. Maybe Sword of the Animist, as was discussed earlier. Same thing with the Mace of the Valiant. Haunted Cloak is for some keyword soup. Mask of Avacyn is for some nice hexproof. If you're running an equipment deck and you got red, you might as well shove an Embercleave in there. Loxodon Warhammer, the OG equipment. Trample and Lifelink, and Sunforger as a way of getting some of my removal when I need it and it's not my hand. On to non-base lands, we've got Slayer's Stronghold for some keyword soup, Rogue's Passage for some unblockable, Sun Home for some double strike goodness. We got a Rugged Prairie, Battlefield Forge, Temple of Triumph Forgotten Cave, Secluded Steppe, Alpine Meadow, Secluded Peaks, or Sacred Peaks, sorry, Path of Ancestry, Lorehold Campus, Command Tower, Buried Ruin to get one of those artifacts out of the graveyard, Evolving Wilds, and lastly, Terramorphic Expanse. Well, this has been Tiana's Ship's Caretaker. Glad you guys could join me in the stream. Chit chat as I edit and sleeve this bugger and get it in its container and in with the rest of my 72 other decks. Stay tuned in the coming weeks. I know this week is going to be very busy for me getting back to work after a week off of being sick. But as you can see, as I move the camera here a little bit, sorry for the shakiness, I'm going to move it here. Right over here is all the decks in progress. I was mentioning through it last night, but for those watching later, I will go through quickly and tell you what's on the bench working. We've got Pirates, Food deck, Fellowship. I'm going to be doing one Sauron and one Frodo deck. Beyond that is, that's just extra cards. Rhino with Garrett. I got Tom Bombadil sitting here. Neheb for Minotaurs. And Atraxa there in the corner. And next to it is Thalia Landfall. In the front row, I have Apes, Skeletons, Coin Flip, Dice Rolling, Assassin / Death Touch, Spiders, that's basically done. I just need to sleeve that bugger. Phoenixes, that's still a work in progress. Where Brutaclad is supposed to be Urtet. Eventually, once I get an Urtet, that's basically ready to go. I may end up disassembling this Rollick Mons Gruul Goblins. It's been sitting there for forever, and I just haven't completed it. I've got an Ishin Exalted, as well as a Rafika the Many Exalted. And we have two different decks there. There's regular wolves, and then there's werewolves sitting there. Eloise, Nephelia Sleuth for clues, and I'm actually waiting for that clue set this next year. Because there's a couple of cards that deal with clues coming up in 2024. We've got Captain Neganthrod with Horror Tribal. One of my current discard decks is getting demolished and going to build horrors instead. Calamax is a maybe. I think it's basically done. And I actually have a Harry Potter sleeves for it. It's been another deck that's been sitting there at least 6-8 months. It's basically done. Basically need to just leave it up. I might just leave it up and play, and I can take it apart later. Next it is Rigo Streetwise Mentor Citizens deck. Next to that is Earl, the Mindstalker Aura, or basically auras is red, green, white. What is that? That is I can't think tonight. It's okay. And lastly, that is those two boxes are my fairies. Fairies is, I think, 3 or 4 cards I need. Same thing with Atraxa and Thalia. So that top row up there are all decks that are either 100% complete or only a couple of cards away from being complete. So that's what I'm working on. And this is kind of my build station. And over here to my right, there's the cards I need to put away once the stream's done. And over here are my binders. Sorry for the blinding light. And then my boxes of extra cards. A little quick tour of the desk. Oh, sorry guys. Anyways, glad you guys could join me for the nearly hour and a half I've been up. But The beeping behind me means that the dryer is done, and I must attend to my husbandly and fatherly duties of getting the laundry done. But glad you guys could join me. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, MTG Cool Dude, and everybody else who tuned in. And just as a side note, I mentioned it earlier. So this is how I get the cards into the box. See how there's a good inch or so of extra room for tokens in that. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Oh, I missed some cards. Look at that. Squish them down, get that air out, and get them in the box. But these do a pretty good job of getting the air out once the cards are sleeved. And I need to see which way I got these in here. Like I said last night, I'm going to be trying the Menards version of the Stanley. What is that? What's it called? 10 container, but it actually can hold 12 decks. I'll probably go by and go pick one up this week and review it on the channel. But so there's a 100 card double sleeve commander deck. There's still plenty of room on each side, especially once all that air's out. Plenty of room on top for extra cards and sleeves or tokens. Fits in there and goes right in the box. That's what I do. Oh, and I missed some more. Look at that. I thought I got them all. But once again, I know I already said it, but thanks for watching, liking, subscribing. More content is coming. Looking at doing kind of like what MTG Gold Dude does with the digging up the past, but instead with angels. Looking at all the angels printed from alpha, beta until today. In fact, I need to take a look and see what new angels came out with the last couple of sets. With that, this has been StewieMTG. Thanks for watching this live stream. If you guys like it, like, comment, subscribe. Catch you all later.